The world. Here we ensure that the real on-time news are packaged for the viewing pleasure of the people. And I won't be doing this alone today. I have my co-host here with me, Immaculata Irikana.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Our headlines for today from Burkina Faso. Junta says it thwarted coup attempt. From Algeria, UN experts urges Algeria to pardon pro-democracy convicts. From South Sudan, government holds peace-building event in Terekeka County.
And AFCON, Morocco, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda to host African Cup of Nations. From India, U.S. mission surpasses 1 million non-migrant visas. And from North Korea, government makes nuclear weapons status part of constitution.
These and many more stories we will be bringing you when we return from this break. Welcome back. This is International Tit Bits on Atlantic Television Network. Now for our stories. Burkina Faso's military junta said on Wednesday that a coup attempt had been thwarted the previous day by security and intelligence services without providing specifics on what had happened. In a statement, it said officers and others had plotted to destabilize the country with the dark intention of attacking the institutions of the republic and plunging our country in chaos. It did not identify anyone, but said some arrests had been made and searches continued for others. Investigation will help unmask the instigators of this plot, it said. The military prosecutor later said 4 people had been detained and 2 were on the run. In a statement, it said it had on Wednesday opened an investigation based on credible allegations about a plot against state security implicating officers. The junta on Monday suspended French news magazine Jeune Afrique for publishing untruthful articles that reported tension and discontent within Burkina Faso's armed forces. The next day, thousands of pro-junta demonstrators took to the streets of the capital, Ouagadougou, and elsewhere to show their support, citing rumors of a brewing mutiny against the authorities. The junta came to power after 2 military coups last year, triggered in part by a worsening insurgency by armed group linked to an Al-Qaeda and Islamic State that has destabilized Burkina Faso and its neighbors in West Africa's Sahel region. Over 50 Burkina-based soldiers and volunteer fighters were killed in clashes with militants in early September, the heaviest losses in months.
A United Nations expert on Tuesday urged Algeria to pardon people convicted or detained over their involvement in a pro-democracy protest of 2019 to 2020 and to ease restriction on gatherings. The Iraq protest broke out in February 2019, forcing longtime President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to step down 2 months later. The movement continues to press for a deep reform, but it won during the COVID pandemic. I urge the government to pardon charges and pardon those people convicted for their involvement in the Harika. UN Special Reporter Clement Vollier said the end of a 10-day mission to the North African country. This will also reflect recognition of the Harika as the turning point in Algeria's commitment to move forward, he told journalists. The government must loosen tight restriction on assemblies and associations to bring law and practice into confronting with the national constitution and international human rights law, adding that a special rapporteur on the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Dozens of people are still detained in Algeria over linked to high-risk or human rights activities. In February, the Council of the State, the country's highest administrative court, confirmed the dissolution of the leading rights also involved in a pro-democracy movement and ordered the disclosure of its premises. Vol called on Algeria to address the climate of fear caused by the string of criminal charges against individuals and organizations under overly restrictive law, including anti-terrorism legislation contrary to Algeria's international human rights obligations. The UN rapporteur also urged the repeal of the articles of the Penal Code and 2021 amendment and they broadened the definition of the terrorism. Since then, the authorities has involved a cycle to prosecute activists and journalists for crime linked to the terrorism. According to non-governmental organizations, Algeria must guarantee the right of population to assembly and associate freedom to exchange law, views and ideas and defend specific interests, including in collaboration with partnering within the outside the country, Vol said.
In South Sudan, a gathering of over 500 people was held in Freedom Square, Terekeka County, to renew a commitment to peace ahead of elections scheduled for December 2024. The outreach event was a collaboration between the United Nations Mission in South Sudan, the African Theological Leadership School, and the Central Equatorial State Ministry of Peace Building. Targeting community leaders and citizens alike, the event emphasized the need for South Sudanese to come together to build peace and prosperity. The Director General for the State's Ministry is vital to fostering one of us, and it is in our homes that we should pass on the values of social cohesion and unity, he said. Inclusivity is a must. Women are the first line of educators in every society because everything starts at home. It is a necessity that we are all involved in the peace process, said Helen Kakukula, a local women's leader. The plans that the political leadership has for our country must be aligned with the expectations of its grassroots. During the event, the UN Peacekeeping Mission also reminded attendees of their mandate in the country. UNMISS mandates renewed in 2023 until 15th March 2024 is focused on preventing a return to civil war, building durable peace and supporting accountable governance. After becoming an independent country in 2011, South Sudan descended into civil war in 2013, ultimately killing
the Executive Committee, taking the biennial tournament back to the East African for the first time since Ethiopia staged the 1976 finals. I am very proud of Morocco forced their national team to play 2023 Cup of Nation qualifiers at neutral venues. One of the key objectives is that the decision was taken today, the development of infrastructure and stadium be a source of enthusiasm among young people, said Tos Sepe, taking the tournament to East African following a statement this year by the Mostepe that he did not want successive tournament in the same
us, and the person was a great moment for us. We were looking forward to going to the US. We will be there at MIT to celebrate our son's proud day and then explore the country as tourists, Dr. Singh told PTI. Dargan informed that their son is currently pursuing his master's in financial engineering at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. This will be our first trip to the US. We're already looking forward to it, he said. Last year, over 1.2 million Indians visited the United States. Indians now
of the nuclear weapons. Now, further dimming hope for denuclearization, the Assembly has gone further by stipulating on the nuclear weapon status in the Constitution itself. This is historic events that provide a powerful political lever for remarkably strengthening the nation's defense capability, Kim said, according to KCNA. Kim also said the United States, North Korea, and Japan has formed a triangle military alliance. In this final resulted in an emergency of the Asian version NATO, the root cause of war and aggression. This is just the worst actual threat, not threatening rhetoric or any imagery entity, Kim said. North Korea has conducted a string of banned weapons tests so far this year. The last one involved two short-range ballistic missiles on September 13 as Kim prepared to travel to Russia for a summit with President Vladimir Putin. It also last month fell in a second attempt to put a spy satellite into orbit. South Korea and the United States has ramped up defense cooperation in response, staging joint exercise as well as naval drill with Japan. Relations between the two Koreas are at the lowest point in year. The diplomacy instilled after failed attempt to discuss Pyongyang declaration. On September 2nd, North Korea staged a stimulated tactical nuclear attack drill and mock attempts warhead attached to long-range.
Biryani craze boomed after the creation of Pakistan. It is the subtle differences that inspire devotion. Our biryani is not only different from theirs but unique in the world, says restaurateur Mohammed Saqib, who layers his bone marrow biryani with herbs. When a person bites into it, he drowns in a world of flavors, the 36-year-old says. Across the road, Mohammed Zain sees it differently. We are the ones who started the biryani business here first, the 27-year-old claims. As staff scoop out sharing platters with a gut punch of masala. It is our own personal and secret recipe. You can't find biryani like Pakistan's anywhere in the world, says Saqib. Whether it is a celebration or any other occasion, biryani always comes first, according to Zain. British colonial rule in South Asia ended in 1947 with a violent rupture of the region and have been arch rivals since, fighting wars and locked in endless diplomatic strife. Trade and travel have been largely choked off. Many Muhajirs settled in Karachi, home to just 400,000 people in 1947, or one of the world's largest cities today with a population of 20 million. For Indian food historian Pushpesh Pant, biryani served in South Asia's melting pot cities such as Karachi is a reminder of shared heritage. Hindus ate differently than Napanthis.
The accused police of extorting money are ignoring illegal documents while pointing to rising anti-Afghan segment as prolonged economic hardship burdens Pakistani household and tension rise between Islamabad and Kobar's new Taliban's government. We have been working day or night getting people released, said Halibor Rahman, who fled Afghanistan in 1980. We have no choice but to remain at home, he said. Pakistani lawyer London police said they had arrested a teenager after a 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death on her way to school on Wednesday, talking fresh concern about the scale of knife crime in the UK. Emergency service, including an air ambulance, were called to the scene in Croydon, South London, at around 8:30 a.m. following report of the stabbing. Paramedic battled to save the girl, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. 15 minutes later, police said, adding that the 17-year-old boy was later arrested. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said he was heartbroken by the fatal accident and pledged to continue working day and night to end the scourge of knife crime in our city. According to official figure, 99 people under the age of 25 were killed in England and were with the knife or sharp object in year to March 2023. Of those, 13 were under the age of 16. The deaths were among 50,000 stabbing incidents in a year to March 2023, a 5% increase on the previous year and a 75% increase on a decade ago. A figure from the Office for National Statistics showed. Police said the suspect in custody was being questioned by detectives. Our immediate thoughts are with this young girl's family.
determine their physical and chemical properties. The team identified 9 different types of polymers and 1 type of rubber in the airborne microplastics, ranging in size from 7.1 to 94.6 micrometers. Each liter of cloud water contained between 6.7 to 13.9 pieces of plastics. What is more, hydrophilic or water-loving polymers were abundant, suggesting the particles play a significant role in rapid cloud formation and thus climate systems. If the issue of plastic air pollution is not addressed proactively, climate change and ecological risks may become a reality, causing irreversible and serious environmental damage in the future, lead author Hiroshi Okochi of Waseda University warned in a statement Wednesday. When microplastics reach the upper atmosphere and are exposed to ultraviolet radiation from sunlight, they degrade, contributing to greenhouse gases, added Okochi. Microplastics, defined as plastics particle under 5 millimeters, come from industrial effluents, textiles, synthetic car tires, personal care products, and much more. These tiny fragments have been discovered inside fish and the deepest recesses of the ocean, peppering Arctic sea ice and blanketing the snow on Pyrenees mountains between France and Spain. But the mechanisms of their transport have remained unclear, which research on airborne microplastic transports in particular limited. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first report on airborne microplastics in cloud water, the authors wrote in their paper. Emerging evidence has linked microplastics to a range of impacts on heart and lung health, as well as cancers, in addition to widespread environmental.
6 young people from Portugal are accusing 36 European countries of failing to tackle the human cause climate crisis. The European Court of Human Rights had an unprecedented lawsuit on Wednesday, reported CNN, backed by the British-based Global Legal Action Network. The Portuguese climate between age 17 and 24 told the court that the government's failure to act fast enough on climate change is a violation of their rights, including life, physical and mental well-being. The case filed in September 2020 against the 27 EU members states as well as Britain, Switzerland, Norway, Russia and Turkey is the largest climate case ever being heard by the European Court of Human Rights, in Strasbourg and media outlets reported. If the climate win cases, it will force countries to scale up their climate ambition rapidly and offer a huge boost to the chance of other climate lawsuits worldwide. And if the court ruled against the climate and it would provide damaging for other climate against CNN in how I exercise and how much time I can spend outdoors. 15-year-old applicant Andra Olivier told Reuters outside court, "I'm forced to stay inside. I struggle to sleep, and thanks to weak weather policies of this government, these are getting worse."
Ukraine's Air Force said on Thursday its air defense system shot down 34 and 44 Shahed drones that Russia launched overnight. Military and regional officials said the attack caused no casualties. Fighter aircraft, anti-aircraft, missile units, and mobile fire groups were engaged to repel the attack, the military said on the Telegram messaging app. The military said Ukraine's southern Mykolaiv, Odessa, and central Kirovohrad regions had been targeted. It said Russia also launched missiles at Mykolaiv. Our air defense forces did an excellent job, Odessa Regional Governor Ole Khan, grain export deal that allowed Kyiv to ship its grain abroad. Reporting by Pavel Politurk, editing.
Indian American Republican presidential aspirant Vivek Ramaswamy has inflated his Republican primary rivals that he said he will not back Ukraine in its war against Russia, aligning himself with former President Donald Trump, who wants to abandon critical support of Kyiv. He have to level with the American people on its issue. The 38-year-old multimillionaire Buttigieg entrepreneur said, just because Putin is an evil dictator does not mean that Ukraine is good. This is a country that has bound 11 opposition parties and has actually Ramaswamy said during the second Republican presidential primaries at the Ragan Library in Semi Valley, California on Wednesday. Ramaswamy, governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, and of Indian origin, was the first to jump in and oppose such a move by Ramaswamy. A win for Russia is a win for China, she said. Ramaswamy disagreed. China is the real enemy. We are driving Russia further into China's arm. We need a reasonable peace plan to enable to his own rank. He said Pence joins Haley in slamming Ramaswamy for his comment. If you let Putin have Ukraine, that's the green light to China to take Taiwan. Pence comes through strength. He said, we need a reasonable plan to peace. We need a reasonable plan to peace. Swamy responded, the Chinese are playing for the Russian war in Ukraine. The Iranians have supplied more sophisticated weapons, and so are the North Koreans now as well, with the encouragement of the Chinese, he said. The navigate on the stage for some of these folks is extraordinary. Christie said, look, I understand people want to go to talk with Putin. Guess what? So did George W. Bush, so did Barack Obama, so did Donald Trump, and so did Joe Biden. When they said a small invasion wouldn't be so bad, every one of them has been wrong, he said. The fact of the matter is we need to stay right now, and Chinese-Russian alliance is something we have to fight against. And we are not going to solve it by going over and cuddling with Vladimir Putin. Look, Donald Trump said Vladimir Putin was brilliant and a greater leader. This is a person who is murdering people in his own country, and now not having enough blood, he now going to Ukraine to murder innocent civilians and kidnapping 20,000 children, he said. And let me tell you, if you think that there is going to stop, if we give him any of Ukraine, next will be Portland, Christie said.
This is International Tit Bits on Atlantic Television Network. We'll return after this break. Welcome back. This is International Tit Bits on Atlantic Television Network. London police said they had arrested a teenager after a 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death on her way to South London at around 8:30 a.m. following reports of stabbing. Paramedics battled to save the girl, but she was pronounced dead at the scene 50 minutes later, police said, adding that a 17-year-old boy was later arrested. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said he was heartbroken by the fatal incident and pledged to continue working day and night to end the scourge of knife crime in our city. According to official figures, 99 people under the age of 25 were killed in England and Wales with a knife or sharp object in the year to March 2023. Of those, 13 were under the age of 16. The deaths among 50,000 stabbing incidents in the year March 2023, a 5% increase on the previous year, and a 75% increase a decade ago. On a decade ago, the figures who are facing the most tragic of news. Our officers over the girls' families to support them, said Chief Superintendent Andy Brittain of the Metropolitan Police. Victor Azere, a 50-year-old security guard on his way home after a night shift, said he and others chased a boy in a school blazer after seeing him stab the girl in the neck with a knife that was black thin, about a foot long. We tried to catch him, and a lot of people tried to save the girl. I was so shocked. I was shaken. It is somebody's daughter, he told British media. Media reports said the girl had just got off a school bus at the time and appeared to have been having an argument with a boy who then attacked her. The girl, whose identity has not been released yet, was a pupil at Old Palace of John Whitgift School, a private girls' school in Croydon. We are deeply shocked by the senseless and tragic death of our much-loved and valued friend and pupil, the school said in a statement. It would take some time for the Old Palace community to come to terms with this terrible news. Above all, we send our love and deepest sympathies to the girl's family at this unimaginably distressing time, it added. Immaculata, can you, as I was reading this, I was imagining just hearing that my child that I sent to school was stabbed by a 17-year-old that is also in high school. What are these children on?
It's, you know that moment that there is crisis in a community, and then you just have in mind that I might be the next victim. Stabbing incident has been reoccurring in UK, in London, and I'm like, is it that the government has not looked into this? Do they really have to wait for this kind of tragic news to happen before they come up to say, we are sympathizing with the family? How long will you keep sympathizing with the family? If you look into this, we have a lot of figures, yes, statistics that they've shown that this is not the first time it's happening. I mean, how can people just derive pressure, like you just carry a knife? I think the government really needs to do something about it, because this is not a good thing for the country. It's not a good image given to the country. The government, what are the leaders doing?
I think aside from arresting the people, they also have to look into the mental health of these people, because only a psycho goes around bleed to death. You're just 17, for God's sakes. You're just 17. I think aside arresting these people and bringing them to justice, a rehabilitation center should be made for these people to go to, so they can look out, okay, what causes this, and they can see this, they can learn the symptoms, so they can spot it in other people before tragic things like this keeps happening. Because it's really scary that your child will go to school.
Sure that peace not in. What are you leading if you cannot save your people? We are talking about security here. You just come, like you rightly say, how can my child go to school and then I don't even know